Group is driving transformation in Vietnam and globally towards a greener future through VinFast and other mobility platforms. Tomorrow, we'll be flying, oh no, sorry, this afternoon. Tonight, we'll be flying to Ho Chi Minh City, where you will visit some of our key developments and mega cities, and you'll learn how we have integrated Vingroup ecosystem into our developments, including real estate, retail centers, schools, hospitals, and whatnot. And we'll also going to have a conference where we'll discuss macroeconomic and market trends, and you'll hear insight from our management sharing the key priorities for Vingroup in the coming years. You're also going to have opportunity to discuss one-on-one with our leaders on insights about the group. And finally, we'll have a closing ceremony for all of you. So once again, welcome, and let's make life better for everyone together. Thank you. Over to you.
All right, good afternoon again, and welcome to VinFast Mobility Day. This morning, you had a chance to see what the future of mobility looks like at VinFast with the robo-taxi demonstration. And this afternoon, you get to hear from three speakers about what the future of mobility looks like. Our first speaker today is Mr. Andre Bajaski from Boston Consulting Group. Andre, please.
Thank you, Amanda, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, VinFast, very much for inviting us, and it's an honor to open the day. Thank you also for painting your flagship model BCG green. We really appreciate the free marketing. My name is Andre. I'm a partner in Singapore, and I lead our mobility offering and the Center for Mobility Innovation in Asia Pacific. So today, I'm going to be taking you through our perspective and our global research, how we see the future of mobility evolving and what are the general mega trends affecting and changing the game in mobility. And I want to start just with, as every good consultant would do, with a market perspective. And what we see overall is that the car sales market is back, right? We've seen the chip crisis, the COVID impact around 2019 with a dip, but we are back to growth, and the growth is continuing. Of course, it's slowing down at some point where we reach the peak, but there is another important message of the slide, and this is that the growth is also shifting in terms of the powertrain. The powertrain of the future is electric, and the forecasts are being adopted every year in terms of the trajectory and the speed of growth, but one important fact is that by 2030, we will have the electrified powertrains on par with ICE, and then after that, overtake them. Right? The future is electric, and there are other reasons for this development. One is particularly when we look into the economy. So you see the big economies like United States and Europe actually already having reached their peak in car sales. Europe, because of regulation, we believe, will be very strongly still driving towards electrification. But then where is the growth coming from? The growth is coming from here, from this region, from Asia. Economies like India, very, very interesting, very important to look into, where the growth is just skyrocketing. And then, of course, Southeast Asia. Now, who is the fastest growing market in Southeast Asia? This is Vietnam. And Vietnam has an advantage also in terms of electrification because more than a quarter of cars sold today are already being battery electric vehicles. And that growth will continue. But there are also other shifts coming our way. There are shifts in terms of technology. So we spoke about the rise of electric vehicles, but also the topic of autonomous driving. And some of you had the privilege to sit in the car. Some of us have had the privilege to look into the demonstration of the autonomous driving already happening and being tested in the real estate in the VinFast ecosystem. There is also the shift in consumers. The consumers are not all asking to have a car, they are asking for mobility. So new mobility modes and new ways to own a vehicle are evolving. It's not only, the car is not only a status symbol, but it's also a means to reach the basic, the basic services like education, like healthcare, um, and participate in a fuller and better life. There is also the competitive dynamics, new entrants like VinFast, of course, and new companies who are thinking partly about digital first and software first for the vehicle. And we will talk about how that impacts actually the advantages and in the markets going forward. There is, of course, the regulatory environment, and this is constantly changing, but we see many nations already starting to ban combustion engine vehicles, others going back on their bans, and that will impact, how the electric vehicles will grow. But one fact is clear, the total cost of ownership of those vehicles, independent of the regulation, is becoming more and more attractive and overtaking the combustion engine vehicles globally. And then finally, of course, we couldn't disregard the global developments, the geopolitical developments, and we as BCG are spending a lot of time to help our clients navigate the changes in the geopolitics, in the tariff situation, in the trade situation, the trade flows, and in how the supply chains are being impacted and shifted. Now that leads us, we talked about the electric vehicle trend, to the other trends we're going to talk about today. First one being shared, so new ways of owning and participating in mobility where you don't necessarily need to own a car to be able to move from A to B. So on-demand services are increasing in share, and you will see there is a little light green area which is called robotaxi, of course taking the driver out of the vehicle and providing seamless autonomous services will become part of the reality. But we see more and more, of course, also the active mobility becoming an interesting way for people to move around. Software-defined vehicles. I spoke about it earlier, and we will talk more in detail about how software first and rethinking the technology in the vehicle, which is not necessarily responsible for the driving, but for your experience in the car, is changing. And you will see that software is the fastest growing component, and more vehicles have additional capabilities in terms of having an operating system, computing power, and a data platform. Then autonomy as a standalone topic, where we believe that more and more cities will rely on cars without the drivers. You see in many geographies actually becoming a driver is not something the new generation aspires to, but it's also something which contributes to bringing more people into mobility who were not able to participate. Mobility impaired people, elderly people, a lot of advantage of autonomous beyond just the cost saving which it can bring. And finally, the future is urban. We know about new urban developments. So mobility is becoming more and more urban game. Of course, you have the intercity mobility, but most important to solve, how do we move in cities and how do cities operate different modes? So let's dive into the topic of shared mobility. And on this chart, you see basically what does it cost you to drive or walk or ride a kilometer, and what is the duration where you would actually need to commit to. And I would say, would we see this chart 10 years ago, you would have the things on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, right? We all know about operational leasing for 3 years. I come from Germany. This is actually the highest type of how we own a car. We don't buy cars, we lease them, right? Or our company leases them. Walking is also well known. Now, what is starting to fill the gap is in the middle, right? Things like subscription models, things like owning the car on a timeshare are becoming more and more interesting. And when the cost comes in, the robotaxi becomes extremely interesting in the scenario, because it allows you to be flexible, but also allows you to be flexible at an affordable price. Now, when we talk about the experience, the topic of software-defined vehicles is very important, because it gives you a very new experience being in the vehicle, right? Vehicle intelligence supporting you with the decisions. I actually had a conversation just at lunch, where I learned something new, where there are now models combining the voice assistant with gestures, so that you can point at a window and it goes down just to say, open the window. Thank you, Edmund. The usage of the ecosystem, bringing in the payment services, bringing in navigation, streaming, you name it, something which you're used to on your phone becoming now part of your vehicle experience. The topic of bionic interior, so man and machine becoming one. Suppliers spending a lot of time on understanding how do you actually combine gestures, voice, touch, and make the vehicle understand yourself. Shared mobility, autonomous driving, electric vehicles demanding for more computing power. That all leads us to the point where the vehicles need to become smarter, right? Which means more operations per second. And to become smarter, they also will need more power, right? More energy. And this is where the topic of software-defined vehicles and zonal architecture comes in. Okay, complex chart. Let me take a moment here to explain. So, if you sit in a vehicle 10 years ago, each of the items in the vehicle would have its own electronic compute unit, ECU, right? The bottom part. So, your cluster display has its own electronic compute unit. Your radio has its own electronic compute unit. Your AC has its own electronic compute unit. Your components for the drivetrain have its own electronic compute unit. You have many small computers coming together and working together. That's a lot of power which you need. And those computers are not particularly smart, right? So we talk about the trillion operations per second, so-called TOPS, you see. So now we're moving to where we can bring those computing procedures into more smarter domain controllers, right? Into domain architectures which are responsible for different zones in the vehicle. So you have now one smarter computer responsible for all your in-cabin experience. How do you operate your AC? How does the AC communicate with your sensors? How do you show it on the information system for the driver, and so on, right? Then it starts to even go further with a cross-domain architecture, where maybe you combine your infotainment with your advanced driving assistance systems, right? So that you say, I want to go towards a level 2 architecture where I have or level 2+, where the vehicle at times can take over functions. It can navigate a highway, it can change lanes, and I want to have it visualized. That goes together into one more powerful computer. And as we go and combine the infotainment, your experience in the vehicle, with the driving functions and go towards autonomy, those computing units start to merge and develop. And this is what we see on this picture. So basically, the zonal architecture with central SoC, stands for software on the chip, controlling some of the domain electronic computing units, is very advantaged, because you can streamline your electronic architecture. You can save energy, because you need less power than if you would power all these different high computing units. You can scale the solutions, and this is where the journey is going. Now, it's not a topic in the future. Already manufacturers, like premium manufacturers like BMW, are shifting to this, and you have seen deals in the market. Now, I remember I'm talking to investors, Volkswagen investing in Xiaopeng, Volkswagen investing into Rivian in the public domain. Why? These are software-first companies which develop the domain architecture and bring this capability and this technology stack to the traditional manufacturers which need to catch up. So you see new companies now starting to dominate where they start thinking about this first, right? Both on the western and eastern side. Now, as we get this technological advantage, we're moving towards autonomous driving. And we believe, you see this picture basically with the more green it gets, the more autonomous it gets. Let me put it this way. We see in the future still the level 2+, so the car takes over certain operations, but you still have to pay attention. And level 3, where for the moments you can disengage as a driver, but you will have to take over at some point, being predominant, particularly in the private vehicles. You'll see the level 4, which here is at about 1% with urban and I think 2%. So in total, let's say it's 3 to 4% as a very small share. Why is the share so small? Because this will happen more in urban developments. And so don't let yourself be discouraged, because you will see on the next page that we believe that about 60 to 160 cities will have robotaxis by 2035. It's a very broad range. Why is it so broad? Because it depends a lot on regulation. It depends a lot on the ability to deploy and enter cities. The technology stack is developing faster than the actual ability of cities to say, I will allow robotaxis operate on my streets. I'm sure that it's safe. And this is again where closed residential areas have an advantage, because they can say, I can actually operate on my own when I let the robo shuttles drive and enable the mobility. Also developments where you would have different resident services, let's say healthcare, education, places to work, places for recreation, connected in one development, and enable this mobility also for people who cannot drive on their own, will have an advantage in adopting autonomous. So this is something we released this year in our work with the World Economic Forum to say, like, what are the different adoption scenarios, what are also the expected numbers of robotaxis. And I think by 2040, if we look towards 6.7 million robotaxis, it's not a small number. Right? But in the global share, of course, still in a single-digit percentage level. Now, when we take a step even further, how does the city of the future look like? And this is where the mobility modes start to merge, right? Where your experience is starting to become, how do I get from A to B the fastest and in the most economical way? And the cities are starting to really very strongly think about this, both in terms of simulation. So we're working with a lot of cities to create digital twins and simulate the mobility of the future, how the different modes merge together, where should they lay out for more public transport, metros, where can they deploy autonomous vehicles with the best case in terms of the adoption, but also how can they repurpose some of the public space. Examples like Singapore, but also Paris, have implemented parts of this future vision system. And we hope that in the future more and more cities will have majority of these elements, be it the micro-mobility solutions, the autonomous driving solutions, the integration of public transport with active mobility, and also the specific opportunities for electric vehicles to seamlessly charge and be maintained. So I want to leave you for the rest of the day with some of the questions, knowing that we have investors in the room, we have practitioners in the room. I think the more we talk about this region and the particular opportunities here, we should start thinking about, out of these megatrends, what will be the specific business model which will capture the most benefits in Southeast Asia? How do players need to change? And what do players need to do to participate in these changes and maybe even shape these changes going forward? We're not alone in this game, and nobody can win this game alone. So everybody will need partners. What kind of partners are needed? And partners both on the operational side, but also on the financial side of the business. Which regulatory changes will be required, and how can they be collectively shaped? Maybe how can we offer support to regulators, which are often seeking for input from industry and from investors, to make this future of mobility, which is more inclusive, clean, and safe, happen in the future. And then finally, for yourself, is what's the best way to participate in this game? With that, I don't know if we have time for questions. I couldn't keep the time, but I hope I rushed through quick enough to leave some space for the questions. It's a good question. I would leave it to Chiem because our estimations are a bit, I'm more on the conservative side. So look, we are at about 26% of EVs sold this year. You have to consider, of course, for the peak petroleum, the installed base, right? So we're gradually changing. So I think we'll start looking more towards 2035. Even you will see more EVs being sold earlier, but you still need to change your installed base, which is like at about 12-year lifetime, right? So 2035 more out of the air, but don't hold me accountable to that, right?
Thank you, Andre. There was certainly a lot of food for thought, and I think we can all agree that the verdict is still out there on how cities adopt mobility, autonomous driving longer term. Our next speaker is no stranger to all of you. I would like to welcome Chien Nguyen on stage to share the VinFast roadmap.
Okay, thank you, Andre, and thank you, Amanda, for the introduction. And to all the guests in the room today, on behalf of the VinFast team, welcome you to our factory once again. Over the course of the next 25 minutes, I'm going to walk you through some key achievements of the company in the last 1 year, some new initiatives that we are working on for the short term and the medium term, together with the introduction into the integrated mobility ecosystem that we are building with GSM, VGreen, and GF. Obviously, I see some familiar faces here, but we have a lot of newcomers as well. So why don't we start with a recap on the VinFast story? So who are we? We are a US-listed, Vietnamese-based EV OEM that was founded in 2017 as part of Vingroup. And at that point in time, we were the first true OEM of Vietnam, realizing the automotive dream of the country, given that prior to that point, all the automotive manufacturing activity in Vietnam was mostly component or assembly. In 2021, we became the first OEM globally to fully pivot from an internal combustion engine to an EV-only strategy. And until today, I believe we are still the only one. And now VinFast is expanding not only in terms of product, manufacturing capabilities, but also our international presence. We are now doing business in 11 countries through a network of 382 showrooms and 5 operating or planned factories. We are proud to have delivered to the market 335,000 cars and 538,000 e-scooters since our inception. So 2024 was a significant year, a phenomenal year for us, during which we delivered 97,399 cars globally, far exceeding our guidance of 80,000 cars. And then in Vietnam, we became the #1 car brand in September 2024, and we haven't left the post ever since. The strong momentum carry on into 2025. In the first 9 months of the year, we had delivered 110,000 EVs globally. We're talking about four-wheeler. This represented a 149% growth year over year. In Vietnam, VinFast has become the proxy for electric mobility. You can see on screen here, the top 3 best sellers in Vietnam are all VinFast vehicles. And our market share in the country is pretty much the country EV adoption rate, now staying at above 30%, one of the highest in Asia. We also put on the accelerator on the two-wheeler side, having delivered 235,000 e-scooters in the first 9 months of the year, marking a staggering 489% growth year over year. So that's on the number. What next? We are planning the growth in the next 1 to 2 years based on 3 key pillars: product, manufacturing, and market. And this will set the structure for the presentation today. So let's start with products. You've probably seen this before. VinFast has the most diverse vehicle lineup of any EV OEM outside of China. And the mission that we have here is really about creating one EV for every customer needs at every pricing point. In 2025, we have new products in a few categories, including mini car, including MPV, and obviously the ultra-premium La Hong. Today, I'm happy to announce for the first time the formation of the family brands within VinFast, including the flagship VinFast brand that encompasses the VF3 to VF9, our well-known and well-loved vehicles. We have the Green Series, which will soon have its own logo and brand recognitions, including the vehicle in the middle here, from Mini Green to Limo Green. And for the La Hong 900, right, it is the first product within the family of La Hong, having its own logo, and soon you will see the exclusive showrooms and sales network for this line of product. The formation of the 3 different brands really reflect the fact that our vehicle model is diverse. It is targeted for different customer groups. Each of them has different brand recognition and ultimately go-to-market strategy. And besides the car model on the top, we will continue venturing in e-bus with 3 models, e-scooter and e-bike with 8 models. Now, I remember at this very same presentation last year, we announced the introduction of a new mini car and MPV, which ultimately form the Green Series that we have today. Limo Green in particular was the most anticipated vehicle model in Vietnam in 2025. It entered the market in August, and since then we have sold in the thousands, and the demand for it just keeps increasing. Limo Green is significant in the sense that it is not only the first MPV model of VinFast, but also it is the first vehicle model integrating our next generation vehicle platform together with a zonal architecture, or what we call electrical 2.0, EE 2.0. Mini Green, the mini car, will go to market in December this year. This is our product for micro mobility, and it could be even more affordable than the bestseller VF3. And then Hero Green and Nero Green are the customized version of the VF5 and VF E34, spec'd out and increased durability for it to fit with ride-hailing and taxi purposes. And this is one key example in which VinFast is flexible with the design of the car to cater different user case. Now, with all the changes in the vehicles that I've just mentioned, especially the Limo Green, you probably already have a glance into where vehicle development, where the innovation within the business will head to within the next 1 or 2 years. The vision is the same: to deliver cost-efficient, high-quality vehicles that enhance customer experience through advanced technology. And we will first do it through shared platform and through modular design. What it means is that in the future, the vast majority of VinFast vehicle will be built on a small number of vehicle platform or chassis, with the new one built for Limo Green being one of the key examples. And obviously, the benefit of having small number of a platform will help us simplify the production and the purchasing process, reduce component complexity, increase commonality, which will translate into a reduction in bill of material cost and production cost. But then the other differentiation comes from the electrical system, what we call EE 2.0. The idea of having zonal architecture in our next generation of vehicle platform, starting from the Limo Green, is that there will be lower components, number of components, at the same time enhance performance of the car. For guests here who are not very familiar with the technicality, most cars running on the street today using a distributed component system, EE system, in which each functionality of the car will be taken care of by a set of electronic control unit. For example, for lighting, you have a set of ECU. For braking, a set of ECU, and then for in-car infotainment, a different set of ECU. This leads to proliferation of hardware, of ECU, of chip, and ultimately of software silos. Under zonal architecture, we are going to build a system in which the ECU are allocated based on the physical presence of it within the car. So we have one set for the front, one set for the rear, and one set for the cabin. So through this structure, obviously wiring harness will be reduced. There'll be lower number of ECUs. And when it comes to communication and OTA update, over the air update, instead of having to update each and every single ECU within the car, you just need to focus on the central vehicle control system, and then the knock-on impact will happen to the other ECU around. So testing has shown that for big updates, right, that typically take a few hours to be done in the previous generation, those OTA can now be done within an hour or even less, enhancing customer experience. And as Andre has mentioned in his presentation, zonal architecture also allows us to unlock many software functionality with ADAS and AD as prime example. So most of our car today, let's take the VF5 or Limo Green as example, has some level 0 ADAS features, including blind spot detection, or rear spot detection, or crossroad detection. Now, the more premium one, the VF6, VF7, VF8, VF9 has L2 functionality, including adaptive cruise control, traffic jam assist, or parking assist. In the next generation of vehicles, right, we will integrate new features at L2 plus level, including auto on-off ramp, car avoidance, overtaking lane change, to name a few. And then we will also have some L2 plus functionality for parking, including what we call V-Parking Comfort and V-Parking Summon. So V-Parking Comfort is more or less a fully autonomous parking functionality in which you can just leave your car to park by itself. And with V-Parking Summon, there will be an immersive view around the car, 360 degrees, for you to help manufacturing your parking, so maneuvering your parking. We are proud to say that, unlike a few years ago, a lot of the ADAS feature, if I could say most of them, are now built by our engineer. It's all done in-house instead of integrating third-party system. And with that progress in technicality, we are now setting our sights for robotaxi. You already seen our functional prototype today with one of our partners. We are exploring, white box and gray box partnership with a lot of technology company with a view to bring robotaxi operation into reality in the near future at selected urban areas in Vietnam, including those of VinHomes. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the product session, and now we continue with manufacturing. So 2025 is a significant year for the manufacturing team at VinFast. Obviously, we double our design capacity from 300,000 cars per year to 600,000 cars per year through the inauguration of 3 new factories. The second one in Vietnam, located in Hà Tĩnh, solely dedicated for affordable models. We have one in India, in Tamil Nadu, to serve the local market, starting with the VF6 and VF7, which were already SOP in August. And now we are working for the Indonesia factory as well, with our technical SOP we expect just around the corner. The philosophy of manufacturing at VinFast remains the same. It has to do with vertical integration, automation, local sourcing, and specialization. When it comes to localization, the localization rate at our main factory in Hải Phòng, as well as the one in Hà Tĩnh, has now exceeded 70%. And this is the target that we want to achieve overseas as well. Obviously, due to the CKD arrangement in India and Indonesia, we expect the localization rate in the first phase to be below 10%, which we will ramp up and aim for 70% by the end of the decade. So, allows me to show you some footage from the new factory through the next video on our manufacturing capability.
At VinFast, scale and speed are more than just metrics. They are the essence of who we are. From our home in Hải Phòng, Vietnam, we built one of the most modern electric vehicle manufacturing complexes, capable of producing 300,000 EVs per year. Our highly automated robot-filled manufacturing complex is built on a total area of 335 hectares. It houses 16 different shops, including facilities that support metal fabrication, electronic part production, painting, and assembly. But we didn't stop there. In Hà Tĩnh, we built our second factory with an initial capacity of 200,000 EVs per year in a record time of just 7 months. Designed to produce affordable and accessible electric vehicles, this facility enhances our operational efficiency and cost competitiveness through specialization. Co-located with our battery pack factory and battery cell joint venture, the Hà Tĩnh plant empowers VinFast with in-house battery R&D and manufacturing capabilities. The strategic placement of our Hải Phòng and Hà Tĩnh factories within Vietnam's key industrial zones and near deep-sea ports ensures a seamless supply of components and enables swift international shipment of finished vehicles. Together, our 2 facilities in Vietnam can produce up to 1 million electric two-wheelers annually. As we expand globally, we bring the same bold vision and execution excellence to new markets. In Tamil Nadu, India, we've established our first international manufacturing hub, a 50,000-unit CKD facility built in just 15 months. As India's first 100% electric automobile plant, blending Vietnamese innovation with Indian ingenuity to unlock new opportunities across South Asia. Next, we're adding Subang, Indonesia to our global network, another 50,000-unit CKD plant, with technical production launch just around the corner. Our journey continues. We remain committed to our long-term vision for the United States, with a flagship manufacturing facility planned in North Carolina, targeting production by 2028. Across every facility, VinFast applies global green manufacturing standards, from ISO 14001 certified environmental management systems to renewable energy integration and circular economy practices, driving us toward net zero operations by 2040. We are boundless from the beginning, from Vietnam to the world. VinFast, boundless together.
So obviously, the increase in manufacturing capability is to accommodate our international vision. So when it comes to market and sales, today VinFast has a network of 382 showrooms globally, with the majority of which located in Vietnam, Southeast Asia, and India. 99% of our showrooms are dealer store. So this year, we have almost completed the transition from direct-to-customer showroom to a traditional dealership model, with the closing of our DTC showrooms in North America and in Europe to make way for new dealer stores. We also accelerate new sales channels, including O2O, or online to offline sales channel in Vietnam. And we also do fleet sales through a partnership with GSM. Needless to say, given the success that we have in Vietnam, we set our sights to focus in the short to medium term on similar markets in Southeast Asia and South Asia, in particular Indonesia, the Philippines, and India. And the initial result from this country has been very encouraging. So let me invite you to watch another video, this time on our commercialization progress in this focus market.
An emerging electric vehicle manufacturer is leading revolution across Asia. VinFast delivers world-class EVs designed to meet local needs, all driven by our mission to make electric mobility accessible to everyone. Our journey began in Vietnam, where we proudly became the country's first true OEM. Since then, VinFast has inspired millions to embrace electric mobility and has consistently led the market for over a year. VinFast is currently holding over 30% market share of the total passenger vehicle segment across all powertrains. Across Indonesia and the Philippines, VinFast is becoming a trusted name among EV partners. Today, we are proud to witness thousands of VinFast vehicles rolling on the streets across 2 countries, powered by a rapidly expanding network of showrooms and strong trusted partnerships with local dealers, banks, and financing institutions. Our relentless efforts have won the hearts of local car enthusiasts, earning numerous prestigious awards along the way. In 2025, VinFast is building a comprehensive mobility ecosystem with GSM's taxi and ride handling, V-Green's charging infrastructure, and GF's pre-owned car services. GSM and V-Green are making tangible progress in our international markets to help transform how people move, drive, and live. VinFast made its debut in India with the locally produced premium SUVs, VF6 and VF7. Blending elegant design with smart technologies tailored to the needs of Indian customers. Deliveries began in September 2025 through a network of showrooms, with hundreds of vehicles reaching customers in the first month alone, a clear signal of strong market enthusiasm. Partnering with leading banks such as SBI, ICICI, Access, and HDFC, VinFast India is making electric vehicle ownership more seamless and affordable than ever. VinFast offers flexible battery leasing and residual value guarantee programs of up to 90% after 6 months, helping reduce upfront costs and make EV ownership more accessible and worry-free. In any market, our commitment goes beyond sales. Every VinFast comes with smart features, industry-leading warranties, dedicated after-sales service, ensuring complete peace of mind wherever you are. From Vietnam to India, Indonesia, and the Philippines, we're not just expanding markets, we're driving the change together.
Okay, so obviously during the video, we touched base on the integrated mobility ecosystem that we are building together with GSM, GF, and V-Green. This is quite a unique go-to-market approach that I believe we haven't seen at any other EV OEM. So for those who are not so familiar with this company yet, Green SM or GSM is the first EV-only taxi and ride-hailing service globally, and they now use exclusively VinFast vehicles. GSM has rapidly taken the market in Vietnam by storm, and they have become the #1 taxi and ride-hailing service in the country. They have expanded to Indonesia and the Philippines as well, and soon to India. V-Green is affiliate of our charging infrastructure company who is currently managing more than 150,000 charging points for VinFast user. And Green Future, the most nascent business within the ecosystem, offering access to use EV to rental and secondary sales. The combination of these companies has really made a significant impact in Vietnam. In particular, they have helped to push EV penetration in the country from 2% just a few years ago to more than 30% today. So how does it work? Okay, so you've seen a few videos already. This is a slide with transition, okay? For any traditional OEM, they make money through sales to customer. So the total addressable market and the definition of customer are limited to those who have money and who can own a car. Now at VinFast, we understand that the market dynamic is changing. The customer is not only those who buy our cars anymore. It also includes those who use our car, who might not have the finance or might not have the right timing or conditions to own a car yet. So obviously, there needs to be a different offering to them. So how does it work then? The traditional sales channel will still exist. VinFast sells directly to those under ownership. But at the same time, through GSM, who purchase our car and offer taxi and ride-hailing, people under usership will be taken care of. Now GF take this one step further. They take used car from the market, refurbish them to high quality, and then offer them under a rental model to users. And secondary sales market to ownership is effectively allows for a bigger popular part of the population to afford the experience of the EV. And VGreen, obviously, as the penetrator of the whole thing, offer charging service and ensure that the customer will not have to worry about range. Here's the reality. In Vietnam, number have shows that once the customer under the usership model is well taken care of with due care, over time, there'll be a tendency for them to switch to purchase a car. And this is evidenced by the customer mentality when they try GSM taxi a few years ago. A lot of them make the decision based on the experience that they have sitting within the GSM car every single day. So the ecosystem is really the extension of the Vingroup already very comprehensive offering into mobility. So other than owning and using a VinFast car, customer now can use the taxi and ride-hailing service under GSM. If they want, they can order food. They can deliver package and everything using the two-wheeler service of GSM as well. If they need more premium with chauffeur service, then GF is there for them. And obviously, at some point during the day, they will need to charge their car. So you can see the green ecosystem really helps VinFast and Vingroup to cater to a wider population, to a wider customer set, and increase customer share of wallet. So this is the end of my presentation. As a very quick recap, we have been talking about the key achievement of VinFast since the end of 2024. We talk about the formation of 3 different brands within the company. We talk about all the technology advancement that we are working on, including modular design, common platforms, EE 2.0, and robotaxi. We talk about manufacturing expansion and sales network. And finally, we also discuss the green ecosystem. I believe after this, we have a short break before my colleague at GSM will take the stage and present their story. And after that, we have some exciting videos on VGreen and then GF as well. So thank you very much for your support.
Our next presenter is going to share the perspective of ride-hailing and fleet operations. Please welcome Ms. Lin, Deputy CEO of Operations at GSM. Ms. Lin, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very honor for me to be here, standing here in front of everybody to share our story, how we success for the last 2 years for GSM. You have heard from Mr. Chien's presentation earlier a lot about our company and what GSM have done in the whole ecosystem of green mobility at Vin Group. So before I start my presentation, let me introduce about myself. My name is Lin, as you can see on the screen. I'm the DC of operation for GSM for the last 2 years, and I'm also the MD Managing Director for Vietnam and Laos market, which are the two main component market that GSM has operated for the last 2 years. So, of course, we know that GSM is actually number one fleet operator in Vietnam, and then we have gone across in Southeast Asia, and we believe that mobility and transportation could be clean, connected, and sustainable and profitable as well. So for my next 20 minutes of presentation, I will share with you how we did it for the last 2 years. We go through our few milestones and how we managed to success in Southeast Asia for the last 2 years. Of course, you can see on the screen about our mission and our vision. So for our vision, we accelerate the global transition toward green and sustainable transportation. And of course, for the mission, we provide a clean, convenient, and sustainable mobility solution. And for GSM, the company name stands for the Green and Sustainable and Smart Mobility. And here are a few of our milestones. We first launched in Vietnam in April 2023. In Vietnam, April 2023, we launched with only 5,000 four-wheel taxi company in Hanoi. And then for the last 2 years, you can see the number here is very impressive. We serve over 13 million of active customers in 2025 until 2025. And for the number of cars we have in cars and bike we have in Vietnam at the moment is over 100,000 EV 4 wheels and 2 wheels. That's only the number that owned by GSM. We still have another 50,000 that actually join into our platform and then bought by single individual customers. So in the total of our fleet number in our platform at the moment in Vietnam is more than 150,000 in active using nowadays. And for the market share, I think that you heard a lot in the newspaper. In 2024, we reached more than 40% of the market share, and we are currently number one in taxi and ride-hailing company in Vietnam. So we bypass all of the biggest players that you might even heard before. And here are a few of the milestones that until now we already have in 4 countries: Vietnam, Laos, Philippines, and Indonesia. And we have our presence in 66 different cities among those four countries. And we launched our latest one, the Philippines, in June 2025. And we are expecting to launch a few new countries for the next 2026. And in terms of services, we not only provide transportation, our platform actually covers the needs of everybody in terms of the daily service as well as for the business service. For the 4 wheels, we have 3 kinds of services in terms of the 4-seater and 7-seater. For the 4-seater, we use the Herio and Nerio for our SNSM affordable and premium services. And on the 21st of November, with the Limo Green, we launched our 7-seater Limo Green services in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. For the 2 wheels, we have 3 different kinds of service. For the personal use of the bike, and then for express delivery. And in last June 2025, we also have for the food services that we call Saigon. And, so basically all the service that we cover on our platform is actually from everyday needs to personalized usage. We want to cover for every single needs of everyone. So we've gone through the milestone of what we have done for the last 2 years and what kind of services we actually have. Let me share in the next 15 minutes with everyone here about how we success for the last 2 years, and then, few like 5 main highlights that we have in GSM. The first one you can see in terms of the figures here. Even though we are new in the market and some of our competitor like Grab or B, it took them more than 8 years to actually have more than 40,000 fleet size in their own platform. And then in terms of the user, it took them more than 8 years to actually have more than 25 million of users. But for GSM, it took us only 2 years to achieve it. And in terms of the customer quality, we are always number one in terms of the customer quality. That you can see, this is all been from the report being done last year. So, and for the quarter 2, 2025, our market share is still at 45%, which is for the taxi and ride-hailing company. So you can see that we always rank number one in taxi and ride-hailing market in Vietnam. And basically, we strongly believe that we are, we actually did own the market in Vietnam for the ride-hailing. And, how can we do it? Of course, there's two main factors that help us to always achieve number one market share in Vietnam constantly for the last 2 years. The first one is in terms of the service quality. We are at number one top tier service, and our driver, they are full-time employees, and they got like a lot of training session from us, from entering into our platform and then maintaining into our platform. We only require number one in terms of the service quality for our customer. And mostly is that all the product and then services given by us to our customer is customer-centric product. So we always want to focus and listen to our customer feedback throughout their journeys that make us always number one in terms of the quality in the market, and that's why we maintain a very high number of loyal customers in our platform. The second reason you have heard in Mr. Chien's presentation is that we are actually got the support from the green mobility ecosystem. So we are not standing alone on our own field. We have, of course, we operate with the VinFast EV car. And then we also have the help from the VGreen in terms of the charging station. Because in order for us to be sustainable, to be profitable, we need to have a lot of charging stations in order to help our driver to actually maximize their driving throughout the days. So for VGreen, they help us to actually have a lot of charging stations throughout Vietnam, Philippines, and Indonesia for the last 2 years. And of course, inside our ecosystem, we also have the VinDT. So actually it's the training center to train the driver and then to get the driving license. So, basically in Vietnam, we have actually more than 100,000 drivers. But with our expansion next year, we need a very larger number, like twice that number of drivers. So we need to get our own, driving center to get the driving license and to maintain the good quality of driving for our driver. So, we have the whole ecosystem here to help us. And the third thing we are doing is that, we actually have the dynamic pricing. We used our system. We have our own system to actually predict on the demands, predict on the weather, predict on the price to make the price very efficient and competitive in the market for customer. And then also, we want the customer to lower the waiting time. What we call in our business is that the ETA, estimate of time arrival. So we used a lot of technology done by us to actually help the customer to enjoy each of their ride with us. And mostly it's in terms of the fleet, like all the fleet we are using is 100% of the VinFast EV car and e-scooter. You heard from the presentation that in 2025, before we used a lot of the VF5 and VFE34, but with the launch of VinFast of the green system, so we start using the Nerio and Helio Green to make our cost more efficient, and then it's more efficient for the driver as well. And we are using the Limo Green and in December we use the Minio Green for our services. And in terms of the e-scooter, we use the Felix and Evo models for our bike system. And in the very near future, we also launched, in December, we also launched the green van with the EC van from VinFast as well. So 100% of our, the four wheels and two wheels, we are using 100% of the VinFast EV four wheels and two wheels. And secondly, what makes us like in the heart of our business, of course, is the technology. And one thing makes us different from others is that we develop our app in-house. So our SingSM app is done in-house, and we launched our app in, I think, in March 2024. It's all developed by ourselves. And in 2025, our app ranking in transportation category is #1. And we managed to have, throughout our app, we managed to develop a lot of services to actually maintain our rider with us. So we increased the number of retention rate for our rider from 45% to 60% in 2025. And at the moment, our CR, so unique CR completion rate for our rider is about 85%, 85 out of 100%. So basically, with our apps, we want to every needs integrated into one powerful app. So when you get into our app, you not only order a ride, you actually get the chance to have a look at all the EV VinFast car. We also help each and everyone, especially tourists, when they come to a new city, they can find out where to eat, where to shop. It's like a small map for everyone inside our app as well. And also inside our app, you can actually have your family account. So you can monitor the ride, monitor the safety of your family, even the spending of your family in one single app that operates by us. And also we use our data, our big data, just not for the sake of the data. We use our data for a lot of different purposes, especially in terms of the business. So I mentioned earlier in my presentation that we used, we use the map. We use the demand to actually monitor our price, what we call dynamic pricing, to make every ride more profitable. And also throughout our app, we develop our own map as well. We don't use the Google map. We have our own map that we developed for the last 2 years with the help of a lot of our driver. So our driver, they go everywhere around the city. They took the picture of the places and they complete our map. So with the map, it can help the driver and us to actually have a more efficient, route. Make it quicker, especially during peak hours. And also with the map, we can actually know in advance the demand. We can forecast the demand based on the history. And based on the history of the demand, we actually can monitor and then put in advance the number of supply that we need for each of the area, for each of the city, during each of the period as well. So we make our business more efficient, and also the driver order matching actually help us to increase our GMV, increase our benefit, and as well as the driver revenue. And thirdly, for GSM, we have 3 type models. So when we first launched in April 2023, we used 100% of our full-time employees. We bought the car by ourselves, we bought the fleet by ourselves, and we employ full-time employees. That's how we can manage to actually expand and enter the market as quick as possible. But after a year of our experience, and then the viral, and then increase in demand, we managed to actually enter into the phase 2, where we can enter every single individual driver who own a VinFast car to enter into our platform. And we actually share a revenue with our partners, our single individual driver. And the share is at the moment the highest one in the market. So usually for others competitors, they will give a sharing of about 65%. We give a sharing of up to 90%. So basically, you only pay like 10% for our fee in terms of promotion, in terms of the platform fee. The rest go to the driver. That's our phase 2. And our phase 3 is that in last December 2024, we franchised more than 10 cities to our partners. We have 2 different models of franchise. One is that we give the whole city to one partner only. They will be like monopoly in that city. For example, when you come to Haiphong, you don't see any Scion, like any of the GSM Scion car. Because in Haiphong, we have one of the partners that they do monopoly. They still operate the VinFast car in our platform. They still use the demand from us. They still use the same brand name, but the whole city is operated by another partner, not by us. That's how we want to expand the transition of green mobility to others in Vietnam, not only to us. We want the whole Vietnam system, a taxi company, to transform to EV, 4 wheels and 2 wheels, to make the mobility like very green and sustainable for the whole country of Vietnam. And we want to apply that models to our Philippines and Indonesia, and that's the model that we will bring everywhere we go. So we enter the market, and after a while, we will have our driver to actually bought the car and join into the platform. And then next is going to be our partner who actually bought the whole system and then the whole city, like being our partner, and then enter into the market. You can see that in Vietnam at the moment, a lot of traditional taxi company like Myling, or G7, they are very big company in Vietnam. They are, the main player before. They start to actually bought the VinFast EV car. And they actually join into our platform this year as well. So whenever you order a ride in our app, it could be picked up by our own driver or by our partner driver. So, now it's a wider choice. But the most difficulty thing that we are doing and trying is that whoever gives you the ride, they still have to obey our code of conduct. We still maintain a quality of services, a quality of training for even our partner driver, because we always want to maintain the top tier quality in terms of services for our customer. Because, for us, what makes us different from others, apart from the 100% EV cars and bike, what makes us different is in terms of our quality. That's make us different in the market, and that's make us stand for number 1. So basically, at the moment, we have 50% our own car and 50% our partners. But by next year, we are aiming at the ratio of 70-30, which means that 70% will be our partner into our platform, and only 30% are our own, owned by us. That's how we are aiming to become next year. Okay, in terms of expansion, since we already have our role model, our core value, and our core business model in Vietnam, we believe that we can go anywhere. With the help of VinFast, with the help of the whole green ecosystem, we can go everywhere. So as I can have shared with you, we are already in 4 countries, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia, and Philippines. And in Q1 2026, we will enter India, and we will enter 9 more different countries in 2026. And of course, by 2027, we are aiming to be the top ride-hailing startup in Asia, with 20% of the penetration EV in Southeast Asia. And we are aiming at very high, aiming is 2028, we become the world leading EV platform. We know that it's very difficult, it's not easy, but what we have done for the last 3 in Vietnam, there's a lot of lesson has been learned, and we believe that we could do it with the core value, with all the the system we already have. We have already applied in Vietnam. We actually can repeat it again when we go to another countries. And at the end, we are not just a company. What we have done, what GSM have done, is actually we actually provide a green solution for a sustainable future. We are not doing for our own business. We are making better environment for everybody. So for the last 2 years, we helped to reduce 150 million of kilograms of CO2. And we, plan around 2,000 hectare forest plantation for the last 2 years. So what our business is actually sustainable business. It brings a cleaner environment for cleaner future, and it's actually a lot a lot of people can actually benefit from our business. It's not only in terms profitable for our own company. And that's the end of our presentation. And I think that what GSM has done has proven to the market for the last 2 years is that there's 3 key factors. The first thing is that in terms of expansion, GSM has the help of the green ecosystem, mobility ecosystem. The second thing is that we always put the customer on the first line. Everything we done is based on the customer-centric. And thirdly is that we use 100% of the EV VinFast car and motorbike e-scooter. That makes us different from others. And we want to actually not changing the mindset in terms of mobilization, in terms of transportation. We want to change the mindset of everybody in terms of a greener future, a sustainable future for everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Lin. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions for you later, but before we get to that, we're going to watch 2 short videos, one of V Green and one of GF. Can we have the videos, please?
Today, 99% of the global population is exposed to air pollution levels that exceed safe thresholds. Despite monitoring efforts in over 6,000 cities across 117 countries, air quality remains at hazardous levels. In Vietnam, the country ranked second in Southeast Asia for air pollution. The challenge is clear. Over 70 million motorbikes and more than 6 million cars are currently in operation. Approximately 80 to 90% of these vehicles run on gasoline or diesel. Unlike internal combustion engine vehicles, electric vehicles produce zero tailpipe emissions, eliminating a major source of urban air pollution. In response to this reality, V Green was founded to develop a global electric vehicle charging network, providing strong support for VinFast in its rapid expansion to international markets. With a bold vision to position Vietnam among the countries with the highest density of EV charging stations, V Green is leading the transition from fossil fuel transportation to electric mobility, driving a cleaner, more sustainable future for Vietnam and the world. Within just 18 months of its establishment, V Green has achieved a remarkable progress, establishing true leadership and becoming the aspiration for the charging infrastructure sector in Vietnam, with over 150,000 charging ports and 34,000 stations developed nationwide, far exceeding the next competitor, who only operates 550 stations, creating a dense and well-organized network of charging points with an average distance between stations of only 3.5 kilometers in urban areas and 50 to 70 kilometers along national highways and expressways, delivering more than 887 million kilowatt hours of electricity so far, significantly contributing to the country's green mobility transition. Continue to push for ultra-fast charging stations to become ever increasingly prevalent, reducing charging times to just 15 to 20 minutes and elevating the user experience. Beyond the Vietnamese market, within just 5 months of entering Indonesia, V Green has successfully established a nationwide charging network with over 1,500 charging stations and 1,700 charging ports already in operation. We aim to deploy approximately 200,000 VinFast EV charging stations in Indonesia by 2027. In the Philippines, 157 charging ports have come into operation in less than 2 months since V Green entered the market with a target of reaching 50,000 stations before 2027. In India, V-Green is preparing to launch operations in Q4 2025, supporting VinFast and GSM's market entry. V-Green is not only recognized for the extensive charging network, but also for its cutting-edge charging technology. At the forefront is Link technology, designed to maximize charging speed and optimize power efficiency. The charging stations can intelligently link and accumulate power capacity, dynamically distributing energy based on each vehicle's requirements, significantly reducing overall charging time. In addition, energy efficiency and battery protection are among V-Green's most remarkable features. The system automatically adjusts power output according to the battery's condition, minimizing energy loss and extending battery lifespan. This translates into meaningful, long-term savings for users on operating costs. Most importantly, V-Green charging stations complies with international electrical safety standards, ensuring a stable, safe, and reliable charging experience for all users. Following the success of its electric vehicle charging network, V-Green is expanding nationwide with the deployment of battery swapping stations for electric motorbikes, beginning in September 2025. These automated 24/7 battery swapping cabinets, powered by standard household electricity, can be deployed virtually anywhere, serving as gas stations of the 21st century. V-Green targets deployment of 50,000 electric motorbike battery swapping cabinets nationwide by December 2025. By 2026, the network will scale to 150,000 swap points across 34 provinces and cities, supporting millions of electric motorbikes and capturing a rapidly growing market. Every charging station and battery swapping cabinet installed accelerates the shift toward green mobility. These incremental steps collectively drive meaningful change, cleaner air, healthier communities, and a more sustainable future. Join V-Green in building green energy infrastructure of the future and shaping a better tomorrow for both local and global communities. Every era is defined by a revolution. Today, as humanity faces the greatest challenge of our time, climate change, the most transformative revolution begins with the way we move. Green Future was founded to lead that transformation, creating a smart, sustainable, and eco-friendly mobility journey where technology and people converge to build a more livable future. Green Future offers premium electric vehicle experiences through rentals and pre-owned VinFast car sales, delivering flexible green mobility to everyone while helping stabilize VinFast EV prices in the secondary market. We aim to become the leading electric vehicle rental company in Vietnam and internationally, pioneering the application of technology at every customer touchpoint. To bring this vision to life, Green Future has developed a comprehensive breadth of solutions comprising flexible electric vehicle rental services for both individual and corporate journeys, premium chauffeur and car rental services accompanied by professional drivers, official resale of quality pre-owned VinFast EVs at competitive prices. With Green Future, you get all the smart features of an electric vehicle and full control of every journey with just one click, without the hassle, complexity, or worries of traditional car ownership. Green Future delivers the vehicle to your doorstep, complete with all paperwork and insurance. And if any issue arises, you'll receive a replacement car immediately, so your journey never stops. We'll take care of everything else. Own it without the worry. That's the new lifestyle trend for the global citizen. To ensure robust quality control, Green Future has established a rigorous 139-step inspection process for pre-owned VinFast electric vehicles, each with verified origin records and comprehensive warranty coverage, ensuring customers complete peace of mind. Each vehicle going through this process will be categorized on a 3S framework. Standard, suitable for realistic demand and optimized budget. Selected, vehicles in great condition, combining budget and enhanced experience. Signature, like new vehicles. In just over a year, Green Future has emerged as Vietnam's leading electric vehicle rental provider, commanding 30% of the market and setting the pace in both scale and growth. With a nationwide network of more than 113 dealers and partners, our standardized yet flexible operating model ensures fast, consistent service and seamless scalability. By the end of 2025, Green Future aims to expand its fleet to 13,000 rental vehicles, solidifying its pioneering role in Vietnam's green mobility revolution and laying the groundwork for regional expansion across Asia. Already active in the United States, Green Future is preparing to enter Indonesia, the Philippines, and India, making a bold step forward in its global journey. In the upcoming phase, Green Future will focus on 3 strategic pillars: expansion of the nationwide electric vehicle rental network, development of a transparent, standardized pre-owned EV market, acceleration of technology and data application in management, operations, and customer experience. For Green Future, providing mobility solutions is not merely a service. It's our way of shaping a new lifestyle, where every journey is a step toward a cleaner, more civilized, and greener future. We believe a green future is not driven by an individual, but by the power of the community, where every mobility choice contributes to a greener planet. Green Future. Premium, flexible, and accessible EV experiences.
All right, we've now moved to the most exciting part of the day, which is the Q&A session. So you've heard a lot today from various speakers, and you get your chance to ask the questions. Great. I'll now like to invite the panelists on stage. Ms. Trang, Deputy CEO of Global Sales and Marketing. Ms. Lanan, Chief Financial Officer. Mr. An, Director of Haiphong Plant. Mr. Diego, Head of Vehicle Module Design Institute. Ms. Lin, Deputy CEO of Operations at GSM. And your moderator, Mr. Chien, CIO of VinFast.
Hello. Okay, exciting time now. So obviously, we went through quite a lot of new contents today, and thank you everyone for coming to us with a lot of questions from the morning until now. And I've told some of you to wait into the Q&A session. And I have noted, some pre-submitted questions from the crowd. So we can start with those few first before we opened the table for live Q&A. So first of all, we have one question from one of the analysts asking about this year. VinFast has set the guidance of at least doubling the delivery in 2024. And so far, after the first 9 months of the year, VinFast have only delivered 110,000 vehicles. So how do VinFast intend to meet the guidance with only 3 months left? Given this is a question on sales, I would like to hand it to Ms. Yung Chang.
Good afternoon. First of all, warm welcome from my side. So I hope that you have enjoyed the tour for the past 3 days, right? Yeah, so about the question, I'm absolutely optimistic about the full year forecast of 200,000 globally for VinFast. So let me give you a snapshot of the year-to-date result for Vietnam first. Let's start first with Vietnam. During the year, we have been facing quite a lot of ups and downs. We faced some political and economic headwinds. So you might know about the biggest government administrative reform for the past decades. So back in July 1st, the government implemented the biggest administrative reform by reducing 63 provinces down to just 34 provinces. And there was a number of 100,000 state employees. Beginning of the next 2 months, actually I complained a few minutes ago to Mr. Anh that I need more supply in order to cater the very high demand in yen. Yeah, so for now, the 3 Cat Scout models, 5, VF5, 6, and 7, have been in short supply. Yeah. So in November, we are heading to 30,000 units, roughly. And for the last month of the year, December, we are aiming to deliver 35,000 units. So how did I come to those 2 numbers? First of all, let's talk about our order bank. The current order bank has been 67,000 units. So like if we do nothing, then we will still have enough orders to deliver for the next 2 months. But then other than that, we have 2 new models to be delivered for the very first time in the market. That are the Minio and the minivan. You might have seen some Minio running on the road from Hanoi to the factory. I saw one. For the limo green, the long-awaited model in Vietnam right now, everyone is craving for limo green. We have not got enough supply, but we are about to deliver over 10,000 units of limo green every single month, November and December. Yeah, so let's just hope that we will have enough supply. Other than Vietnam, this year I'm very glad to announce that we have been able to set a very first important milestones in the overseas markets as well. In particular, you might have heard a lot about the phenomenal debut of our product in India back in September, right? The VF6 and VF7. Market perception toward our product and pricing has been tremendously positive, I have to say. And the result of the first 2 months of sales has been overwhelming. Yeah, so these are the key achievements and also the reason for my forecast. So super confident about 200,000 and actually I'm trying to do more than that.
Thank you, Ms. Yung Chang. The next question is from the gentleman on the 4th row who came to me during tea break. So obviously, given the guidance of roughly 200,000 cars per year, why so the design capacity across all factories of VinFast is about 550 to 600,000 vehicles. We would like to know the current utilization of the factory and what's the reason for VinFast to build so many factories in parallel. Given that this is manufacturing, Mr. Anh Le, please take the stage.
Okay, thank you for the question. Hope you all enjoy the tour to VinFast manufacturing complex today. It's one of our 4 footprint, I would say, but it's the first one. And we will expand our footprint in the future, not only in Vietnam, but also the other country in the region. And I hope one day you can see them all. Back to the questions. We have, thanks to Dung Chang, we have a very strong sales force, and then we have now faced the good problem, I would say, not only the manufacturing plant in Haiphong, but also the entire supply chain is putting the effort to fulfill the demand until the end of the year to fulfill the sales plans and make it not only keeping the number 1 position, but also maintain and widen the gap between VinFast and other competitors. Back to the capacity utilizations, we have now the capacity in Vietnam, 2 plants, one in Haiphong, is 300, that designed to be 250,000 cars per year. But then with our engineering team and manufacturing, we push it into the capacity of 300,000 units per year. And for Hà Tĩnh, is 200,000 units per year. And Ha Tinh just ran the start of production in June of 2025, just several months ago. And for Haiphong, every 7 to 80 seconds, one car is made. So that is the speed of our manufacturing line. And now we run at the top speed I think from Q3 to Q4. The utilization now very close to 100%.
Okay, thank you. Next one is the question that has been asked multiple times today. How much the sale this year of VinFast will come from GSM? Okay, our CFO, Ms. Lanai.
Thank you for the question. Actually, for GSM sales, for the first half of 2025, is account to the 22% from the sales from related party and mainly from GSM. If we look back from 2024, at that moment, the significant part of sales from VinFast is to GSM, and a lot of question put to the leaders about whether in 2025, the continue about the percentage, very high percentage to GSM or not. However, as for the actual number that in the first half, that only the 22%, and we expect that in this year for the total is under the 25%. This is due to for the very good in terms of the momentum for the dealers network that we have developed, that Mr. Dương Chan just mentioned about for our sales within in Vietnam that we leverage for the dealer network, and then we attract a lot of like the end consumer, the external parties, and then we expect that end of this year the very like just lower than the 25% are going to be to the related party sales. Thank you.
Okay, so speaking at GSM, the next question is for Ms. Linh Nguyen. What are the most important factors contributing to the rapid success of the company in Vietnam, and to what extent do you expect to replicate the same success in Southeast Asian markets?
Okay, thanks a lot for the question. Actually, you can see on my presentation previously, there's few factors that make our success story for the last 2 years. The first one is that we are the only and the largest that use 100% of the EV cars and bikes for the fleet operator in Vietnam and across Southeast Asia. So that's the first thing that makes us different from others. The second thing that makes us go quick is that when we first launched back in 2023, we used the models of 100% full-time employees, and then we bought the EV cars by us. So that makes us go with the speed even quicker. And by 2024, we implement the platform system that actually transfer from our own asset into the end user, the driver, to who actually they already drive with us for the last year. They know how to earn their money. They actually believe on the quality of the EV VinFast car, and they start to buy by themselves. That's why we managed to actually transform our models into a 50-50%, so 50 of our own asset and 50 from our partners. So that's the second thing that makes us go very quick. And the third thing that makes us grow sustainable is that we always maintain the quality of the services. As you can see that for example, Grab or any of the ride-hailing company in Vietnam or across Southeast Asia, one of the main issues that they have is that in terms of remaining the quality of service for the driver, because they are partner driver, they are not your full-time employee driver. So it's quite hard for them to maintain the service quality for customer. And also the second thing, apart from the quality of the driver, is the quality of the car itself. We are very strict on the quality of the car, and then the safety and the cleanness of the car. We imply a weekly check on the car by our specialists. So we always want to make our customer to have the best experience throughout their ride with the VinFast car as well as the ride by our driver. So that's the three things that make us go quick and sustainable. And when we go global with the story of Laos, Indonesia, and Philippines, we apply the same models. That's why only after a year, for example, for Indonesia, we already open in 3 different cities in Indonesia. So we are in Makassar, Jakarta, and Surabaya, and opening up will be Bali and other cities in Indonesia. And we already have more than 10,000 vehicles in Indonesia only after nearly a year. And for Philippines, we are expanding quite fast as well, only after 4 months in the country. So basically, the answer will be that what we success in Vietnam, the core value and the core model will be applied to whenever country we go. That's how we truly believe that we can grow quite fast and expand quite fast by 2026 and 2027.
Thank you, Ms. Ling Nguyen. Now we get to the last pre-submitted questions. This one is on vehicle architecture. What are the major changes to be introduced in the new set of vehicle platforms, and what are the level of component or system commonality is expected across different models going forward? Please, Mr. Diogo Girardi.
Thank you. One thing that we need to understand is that if we look at the electrical architecture of a vehicle, is extremely complicated. Let's imagine a building, but every flat has been built by a different company, designed by a different architect, have to provide its own water, electricity, and dispose of this water. It will be extremely inefficient. If you centralize this, you achieve a much better result. That's what we've done with the electrical architecture. We centralize many of the controllers into areas. This gives us a possibility to streamline the process, reduce the costs for wiring and modules, but also to control better the vehicle. We also own most of the software. Instead of having different companies writing software for us in these modules, we own this. That means we'll be much faster to make changes to adapt to the market and to adapt to the customer requirements. So this is incredible, and I think that if you look at the automotive landscape, very few companies were able to do this. And we were able to turn this around very quickly internally with our engineers. We already applied this in our first vehicle, the Lima Green, which has been produced 2 months ago, and you can see on the roads. We continue to apply this electrical architecture in the near future on most of our new vehicles. So this definitely is an incredible advantage of new engineering. The percentage of shares for commonality depends from class of vehicles. Of course, you've seen in the future we bring in something like Mini Green. We're also renewing our large vehicles. You can't share everything on those vehicles. So what we want to share is the solutions. In the car, when you design a car, you have many problems, or many issues, many questions, many ways to achieve things. And we want to do this by applying the same solution to the same problem. Currently, we're running around 58% commonality between our range, which I think is extremely good. But also on some platforms, like for instance, our new large platform, where we have VF8, VF9, and other modules coming, that level of commonality goes up to 70%. So I think that if we consider these two factors, if we consider that we have a strong engineering here in-house, we're very well positioned to achieve our goals of having a streamlined engineering, be fast to market, and respond to the customer request.
Yep. Thank you. So now we open the floor for a live Q&A. But before we do so, I need to remind that unlike prior year, we are having this investor tour before our Q3 earnings call. So therefore, we are at the moment under the blackout period with certain restriction on information we can disclose as per the US Security and Exchange Commissions. So when it comes to financials, right, our panel will only be able to discuss number after Q2 plus the delivery number for Q3. Hope you understand that. Okay, please raise your hands for questions now. Okay, we have two questions from the MUFG team.
Thank you very much for hosting a very interesting site visit and also very insightful section today. I learned a lot from all of you. And I know that VinFast is running a very ecosystem. You call that with a lot of green solution from the whole system of VinFast and also the eco company subsidiary. But just want to start by a very basic question, and if I'm not wrong, please teach me. But the EV is run by battery, right? So in terms of the input, do you have any plan to run the charging station by green energy as well, not the normal power as now? And the second point, I noticed that the battery of EV of VinFast just run, the minimum is 3 years, and the longest one is 10 years. And after 10 years, it will become rubbish, wet, a lot of negative impact to the environment. So do you have any plan to handle this issue as well? Or you transfer the responsibility to the owner or the user? Or at least, if we think about the circular economy or the package of solution, any solution for the user like us after the battery life run out. Thank you.
I can answer regarding battery life. So batteries will last for more than 10 years. So that's first thing. Secondly, we know that normally, a lifespan for a vehicle is around between 10 and 12 years. There are multiple ways to recycle batteries. There are a lot of companies that are looking into this in detail. For instance, we're using batteries discharged from the automotive industry into static battery solutions. Will give an opportunity to the consumers to reuse the batteries without having to deal with, dismantling the batteries and go back to the elements which are used into building those batteries. I think there will be a trend happening around the world.
So allow me to add a bit more angle here. So obviously within VinFast, we have one unit called VinFast BESS, which is now also part of VinEnergo. And they've been working on second life solutions for batteries, and one of which is to stack them together in a container-like shape for battery, storage, which we can use for area where, on-grid electricity is not always widely available. That's one way, and the other way is to recycle them, or dismantle them, or sell them for scrap. So there's quite a few options around that angle. About the source of energy, obviously there's nothing confirmed at the time being, but one of the purposes of Vin Group to enter green energy is to ensure that our electric vehicles are not only green on the sense of that it uses energy, but also it uses truly clean energy. But this is an initiative for the future, so there's nothing we can confirm at the time being.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Daisuke Suzuki. I'm the deputy head of Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group of Hanoi branch. Thank you for the tour and thank you for the presentation. It was really interesting and was highly helpful for our deeper understanding. I have two questions. One is regarding the battery charging station. I believe that that huge infrastructure you have is maintaining your ecosystem, which is something indispensable to actually sustain your ecosystem. Do you have any plans to open up that charging system, the stand of the charging system, to other competitors to join this battery charging system? Since, well, we do not have the precise figures, but everybody's talking about that it should be a heavy investment for just by VinFast or VinFast Group. So do you have any plans to open up and let some other competitors to join that ecosystem so that you can share this battery charging system? And the second question is about the green future. I believe it's a huge initiative for VinFast to create secondary market in this country. But during the video, only the four-wheel vehicles appeared. Do you have any plans to to create a secondary market for the two-wheelers? That is the two questions.
Okay, so your question on the opening up the charging infrastructure, that would be a question for VGreen. So I would be speaking on their behalf if I answer the question. We wouldn't have an answer or yes or no today, without them here. But what we know is that Tesla used to have a very same model, and in the initial year, was also exclusive to their users. So yeah. The second question that you have was on GF, whether there's a plan for the reuse, for the pre-owned service to cover the two-wheeler or not. At the time being, my understanding from them is that there hasn't been any indication of such service yet. Again, I cannot answer on their behalf. We're just not aware of any plan.
Let me put another one for the green future in terms of two wheels. They don't have the second market yet for the two wheels. But at the moment, what Green Future is collaborate with GSM is that we do a rental model. We do have a rental model for the two wheels at the moment in Vietnam. So some of the city are actually operated by our partner as well. So we use the bike platform models in few of the city, and those bikes are actually being rented by the partners through the GF Green Future rental model. Yes, we do.
Next question, please.
Hello, hi. My name is Hong from VCAP research team. So thanks for sharing a lot of the information today from VinFast, GSM, and VinGroup also. I have three questions. The first question is about the, can you share about the prelim targets about 2026 delivery sales volume for the EV and also the motorbike units? And the second question is about the cost side. So when I look at about the industrial segment of the VinGroup, we see that the quarterly results sometimes has a one-off expense causing the volatility on the profit margins of the industrial segment of the VinGroup, mainly the VinFast. So could you share to us about what is which type of cost is the most important to look at for the VinFast to reach the break-even? And among of these costs, which one the company can proactive or actively manage, and which one is less flexibility to manage this type of cost? The third question is about the fundraising. So I would like to ask about the capital rising plan from the VinFast and GSM in the next 2 years. So which type of the funding channel you are looking at, and roughly how much amount you are targeting in the next 2 years? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. For the guidance for 2026, VinFast is going to be released very soon. At this moment, we cannot disclose because we yet have the earning call, and due to the regulation with the US as the listed company in the NASDAQ, so we need to disclose wisely for our guidance. So we're going to update to you very soon. The next question about the cost for the profitability, as we shared during our earning calls, For VinFast at this moment, we are in the position that we have the ongoing promotional activities to make sure that we can adopt EV acceleration to many new markets. For Vietnam this year, we keep the number one. However, we still need to spend for the promotional activities, and for the new markets like India, Indonesia, and Philippines, we in the position that we promote a lot for the branding, as well as the promote for our EV brand in the new market. So that's why we still in the position that yet break even yet, and I think for the coming time, we still very near term that we still in the have the cash burn for the investment of the new platform, and as well as the attract for the new consumer in the new market, and for our very activities to reduce our BOM cost. We have the with the R&D team, like Diogo just mentioned, that we have the new platform next year for the VF6, VF7. With new platform, we expect that have the BOM optimization a lot, and then we still keep the momentum that's for VF3, 5, and VF8 and VF9. With the significant increase in the volume, we expect for the supplier collaboration to reduce for the inputs, the BOM cost, leverage for the scale. And for the production, because we have the scale in terms of the volume, so that's why we can improve in terms of the production cost. So this is a very activities that you just mentioned about our activities for the reduction of the cost. For the maybe it's much depend also is for the sales volume, that when we enter to the new market, for sure that beside for our advantages that we have the ecosystem thanks to the cooperation with GSM, Green. However, for the new market, so that's why we still need to burn our money in the sales activities. So this is collaboration with the sales guy here, and we develop for the dealer network that we want to duplicate the success story in Vietnam to the new market. So this is also the challenge of our team that we already aware of, and we're gonna do very aggressively in the coming time. In order to support that, yes, for the question number 3 that you mentioned, that's how about the fundraising for GSM. Ms. Ling gonna be provide more information, and from VinFast, we receive a lot of support from our founder, our chairman, that we already received a lot during past years. And for the revolvement of our bank loan, we still in the position that we receive the trust from our capital partners from the bank's credit institution for revolve our bank's loan, and our investment team is very aggressively to do for the attract for the equity, and this is all the activities that we secure for the capital funding, and thanks to the trust from the financial partners that we achieve a lot of the successful story in Vietnam, and really heading to the success in the new markets.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it from the VinFast side. Maybe Ms. Ling can fill in on GSM.
Okay, from GSM, of course, since we own more than 100,000 vehicles, we need a lot of support from banks in terms of bank loans. But at the moment, we really have a lot of support from international and Vietnamese banking in Vietnam and also in Indonesia and Philippines when we go there. But one thing is that for us, when we choose in terms of bank to be our partner, not only in terms of the loan package alone, we want to also upscale in terms of the whole package for for our customer and also for our drivers. So when we look at the package with the bank loan, we also look at the whole package in terms of the what they offer for our driver, what they offer in terms of the loan for the company, what they offer for the customer. So it's like one of the whole the ecosystem. And when even though we are reducing on the percentage of the asset owned by GSM and then expand into our business of partnership in Vietnam, but when we go abroad, especially by 2026, we will enter 10 new more countries. We will always apply the full asset model from GSM. Then of course we need a lot of help from the bank in the future, especially international bank for international like for foreign country when we expand. In terms of the details plan, we cannot release at the moment. We will have more detailed plan by Q1 2026. So I think that we can discuss more in details at that time. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add some more in terms of manufacturing cost. I think it's one of the very important costs in the whole cost structure of the vehicles. We also, besides some information that our CFO already mentions, we put on our effort on the localizations a lot. Not only the BOM cost, like the materials. Let's say, for example, we use a local famous supplier, paint, sealant, kind of other chemicals product as well for the manufacturing. But also we work with our local line builders. We could build the, let's say, the Harting plant with the cost of, I would say, much more lower than the cost we build this Haiphong plant. And we, because we have developed the supplier, the local supplier of line builders together with us during the Haiphong manufacturing build up, and then they have the capability to work with us not only in Vietnam, but also they help to build the facility in abroad as well. So that helped to reduce our fixed cost of manufacturing a lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So in order for everyone to get to Ho Chi Minh City tonight without having to skip dinner, we probably have enough time for one last question. Okay, Đức Anh, please.
Hello everyone. Yeah, this is Đức Anh from Mira Asset Fund. Just have one question per Anh Chien's request. Just want to you guys to clarify a bit more about the deal structure with Novatech in terms of what kind of R&D technology is transferred to Novatech, and then what would future arrangement be, and for future R&D technologies, will they belong to Novatech or will they be VinFast property? Thank you.
So about the Novatech transaction, that's we have the transfer the R&D assets that we already package of the VF from the VF3, VF5, VF6, and VF7. The R&D already developed in-house and transferred to the Novatech. And in return, we have the 1.6 billion US dollar transfer from our founder. However, for the core technology, still belong to VinFast for the new platform. For the assets that we already transferred to the Novatech, we pay the royalty fee to Novatech, and we still use the technology in our current platform, we call that the legacy platform. And then for sure that it is not impact to the IP right, that we still have the chance to use that's the rights to use the technology. So it is in long to short, it's not impact to our technology now. And we still have the in-house team that Diogo just mentioned that still develop a lot of the new platform. So it is not just impact to the technology that we already fully developed, and we just package it and transfer to the Novatech. Yeah.
Okay, that concludes our Q&A session. Thank you, the panelists, and thank you, all the guests, for the questions submitted.